Welcome to Growth Hack by Poppy Digital. Tips and tricks to master the algorithms from industry insiders. Now here's your host, Julian Espinoza.
On this episode of Growth Hacking, we'll be covering what to do once you launch your social media campaign. If you've been listening chronologically, in episode 3, we started with your target audience and we got super specific on who's most likely to be a buyer. After building out a consumer avatar in episode 4, we dove into where to advertise and what to advertise. With so many places you can advertise, it's important you select the right channel and adjust your content to reflect the right platform that your consumers are on. At this point, your campaign is ready to launch and you want to launch. No, don't. It's not ready. Without understanding how to structure and build out your campaign, you are not ready. Before we give you all the tips and secrets about how to structure your campaign, it's imperative we discuss something called the consumer journey.
The customer journey involves every interaction with your company, product, or service. When a customer buys your product or service, that transaction is one aspect of the journey. The journey as a whole is created by all the moments leading up to and following the purchase.
The consumer journey looks different depending on the product, company, and the service offered. Understanding what information a consumer might need to make a decision is important. So, for example, if you're buying a pair of headphones, what do you need to know in order to make your decision before you purchase them? If you're buying a car, if you're buying a flight, where are you flying to? Where are you staying? What activities are you doing that'll affect the flight you buy? Let's not overcomplicate this explanation. Let's talk about a simple product to outline the consumer journey, and let's use an example of a men's belt. As we talk about this experience, think about how you can insert your brand and answer the questions your consumer has through the journey. The first step in any consumer journey is discovery. Several ways this can happen. One way is that, hey, my belt broke and I need to replace my belt. So you go to Google and find options. Another way is a friend recommends his belt. He says it's comfortable and it looks good. So you go online looking for the belt. But since a large portion of this podcast is dedicated to social media, let's use the example of a consumer finding a belt from a Facebook ad. Let's assume the consumer clicked on an ad and was taken to a landing page. As the consumer scans the page, they think about fit, function, utility, style, but they aren't convinced they want to buy it yet. So they click off the website without even putting anything into their shopping cart and move along with their day. Now, because we are sophisticated marketers, we have a pixel that tracks the behavior of a consumer. We implement a tactic called remarketing.
Remarketing is a strategy to re-engage customers using information collected while they navigated your website.
Using remarketing, the belt company shows an ad to the same consumer, highlighting one of the key selling points of a belt. The consumer comes across this ad and says, "Oh yeah, I remember that belt. It looked good, but I wasn't sure about purchasing it quite yet. Maybe I'll check it out again." Now, this is where the fun part begins. The consumer doesn't click on the ad, but instead goes and looks for reviews to see how others like it. The consumer considers himself a sophisticated buyer and wants to see an independent third party reviewing the belt. So now he goes to YouTube and types in the name of the belt and includes the word review. He sees there's 4 to 5 people who've reviewed it, clicks a link, and listens to the guy who talks about how it works, how to customize it, and its functionality. The consumer is now very interested. He's seen the product several times and now has influence from a third party. Guess what though? Life happens, he's late for a meeting, so he stops watching the video. As marketers, this is our nightmare. Consumers who are interested but leave because real life gets in the way. It doesn't seem fair, does it? From a tracking perspective, the user originally came to the website from a Facebook ad and left. Then a day later, he saw an ad, but he didn't click. The pixel can't track that he watched a YouTube video of our product because it was an independent third party. What we do know is he saw another ad and he didn't click. This could mean the consumer isn't interested, but it also means we didn't give him a reason to click. As marketers, we need to accept that no two consumers are alike. So we use a different approach and show an ad that's actually a blog post with the title, 5 Ways This Belt Changes Your Life. This time, the consumer feels intrigued and clicks on the ad. He starts to read other consumer experiences and is really interested. He navigates the website and finds the belt again, but this time he adds it to cart. Guess what? He realizes he needs to pick up his kids, and without completing his purchase, he leaves. The nightmare, it starts all over again. We had a consumer who was interested, he added to cart, but he left. Very frustrating. Don't worry, our friend Remarketing can help. From a tracking standpoint, we know this person is interested even though he abandoned the shopping cart. We have options on the next approach. We need to give him a gentle nudge to finalize his decision and make a purchase. One way can be showing him videos of people using our product. This is called user-generated content. If he doesn't complete his shopping cart after these gentle reminders, we finish off by showing another ad with a 15% discount code. And boom, he's like, okay, I'm convinced. Let me go buy it. And he does. No two consumer journeys are alike, but we can outline what questions our consumers have and at what stage of the process do they have these questions. Through this process, you can build a consumer journey. Now, this sounds exhausting. That's a lot of content and that's a lot of ads to get someone to buy a belt. It didn't always used to be this way. 20 years ago, if someone needed to buy a belt, they would drive to the store or order one through a catalog. Today, consumer behavior has dramatically changed. For the better or for the worse, the internet has given us the ability to access information in seconds with our thumbs. It gives businesses the opportunity to market to customers they would have never been able to reach in the past. Technology has made it possible for advertisers to have more access to consumers and their information, giving them more ways to advertise. Yet, on the other hand, consumers are empowered by having more options to choose from and access to information. This makes advertising more complicated in that consumers have so many more options to choose from, so much information they can be highly selective when purchasing. With so many ways to market to your consumer, where do you begin? Well, we know people are going to want to do their research. What third-party websites help consumers make their decision? If we're talking about e-commerce, YouTube product reviews are huge. How can you get more YouTube product reviews? Connect with YouTube influencers whose target audience are your consumers. Offer them product reviews. Offer to send them product in exchange for reviews. In some cases, you'll need to send product and also pay them. The same applies to bloggers who have really good rankings on Google. You may want to do some Google searches around the product category you're in and see what bloggers rank at the top of Google. Reach out to them in the same way and request for them to do a product review. As the internet grows and evolves, the way to reach consumers is endless. To get more ideas, follow us on social media or subscribe to our blog. Now that you've built all your assets along the consumer journey, you thought you were done, didn't you? You're not. Every business and every product has a different consumer journey. Some products don't require many touch points, but others may require more. There's no guarantee that if we reach our consumer through these touch points, that we will convert a visitor into a buyer. Each touch point can be a win or a fail. Through the process, it's our chance to discover what the consumer cares about and what they're interested in knowing about. We can find out if we're appealing to our consumer based on what we're showing them. So how can you discover the proper content that is needed through the consumer journey? You test. Depending on budgets, we create 3 to 5 pieces of content for each touch point. This may sound like a lot, but it gives us an understanding of which content performs best through each touch point. For example, we might want to try 3 to 5 different review influencers and see who performs the best. Then we select the top performing one and put it into our ads. The idea here is we need to test. This is imperative and crucial to your campaigns. As marketers, and even as business owners, we get into the mindset of prescribing the information our consumer sees, without taking into consideration that a consumer may or may not need that information, and potentially wants or needs something else to make a purchase. Testing content in each touchpoint allows you to net a performing campaign and helps you decrease your cost to acquire customers. We hope everyone got something valuable today, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Growth Hack. Coming up on our next episode, we will have a creative director who teaches us how to create action through video. Later this season, we have a series on LinkedIn marketing. Stay tuned for more, and always remember, hit that subscribe button to be notified of our new episodes.